Hi Homeworthy, I'm Meredith. Welcome to my home. Let me show you around.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, I'm Meredith Walker. I'm an artist. Welcome to my home in Columbia, South Carolina. We found this home kind of serendipitously. We weren't really looking to move. We were already living in Columbia and it was 2021, so it was right before the housing market kind of went crazy, and we stumbled upon this home. We kind of immediately fell in love with the backyard first, actually. We had moved from a house with 2 young children where the backyard wasn't super accessible, and when we saw this home that had been loved for so many years by the previous owner, we knew it was the one. When we moved in, it had only had one previous owner. Her name was Marjorie, and she lived here for 70 years. And so we kind of already felt this really special kind of connection to this home. It was built in 1962. It had been just kept up with so well. You could tell that Marjorie loved this home so much. And we heard from neighbors after we moved in, actually, people would come over and tell us stories about Marjorie. So we kind of felt like we had stepped into this little piece of history in this little suburban neighborhood. It took us a while to do any work on the house. I think it kind of typically takes us at least 1.5 years before we're ready to make any big decisions. And so for a long time we lived in it just as it was, and we have a lot of the same fixtures. We changed the lighting pretty early, but other than that, we just kind of lived in it as it was and kind of felt how we functioned in the home and what we liked about it, what we wanted to change. It's been a really slow process of making it our own. Welcome to the living room. This is our most used room in the house by far. It has the best sunlight, and when we moved in, we decided instead of making it a traditional sitting room like most ranch styles are, we wanted to live in this space. So we created a space that brings us all the comfort. So where I thrive, I feel like, is in like these little collected items and details. A lot of what I buy is from thrift stores, or I've got it from my grandparents' house, or in travel. So for example, one of my favorite items to date were these paper coasters I found at a flea market in France, and they all have different like pieces of art on them, and they're not gonna last forever, but I'm like savoring every moment until they finally die. And then this gallery wall is actually my least favorite wall in the house because I just feel like it's missing something, but this painting is super meaningful to me. I created it. It was one of the first ones I ever painted since having kids, and I painted it when my grandma passed in COVID, so it just holds a lot of meaning for me, and has actually kind of become the deciding factor for how we would color this space. And then a wedding photo that, fun fact, went a little bit viral on Pinterest in 2011. Everyone loved that bunting. And this poster of this wrap was one of the first pieces we bought for this house. I don't even know why how I found it or why I decided I needed it, but I still love it. It's really fun. And this piece is actually one of the first pieces my husband and I ever thrifted. And it was a really funny story because it was one of those Facebook Market finds where you show up to the place and you're like, I might die today, but I want that piece. So we didn't die, and we have this beautiful piece that's actually a record player on the inside. There's a turntable and the speakers are here, but I've always loved this piece. It's so special, and it was $10. Did I say that? It was so cheap. And then I've over time just been collecting these pictures from my family and my own children. And I love this mix of kind of different woods and materials with the frames. I just think it's a little bit more interesting than if everything were to match. This frame was another one I thrifted that is very old. I need to do like a Google search because it just is very unique. And yeah, this terrarium I built with my children from some moss and ferns from outside. And we actually used to have snails that lived in here, so they were our pets for a while. And over here is another one of our very first thrifted pieces. This is a chair we got from Goodwill, and I loved that it was kind of like a mini version of the giant peacock chair, and we just had to buy a new cushion for it. And so we've had this for like over a decade. And then this was just I created this for my business when I was deciding whether or not to sell textiles, and I never did it, but I have this pillow that I like to decorate with. And then these are two of my favorite pieces. My dear friend and former studio mate, Willa Hart, created these silhouettes of my girls, and I love the contemporary take on that traditional silhouette. And they also tie in really well with the painting that's behind me. If you follow me into the dining room, I'll come show you. So this is our dining room. I love the space in the house. It just feels like a focal point right when you walk in from our front door. We've got a lot of fun art in here. These three pieces I created one summer. It's a mixture of textile and soil from the backyard, and they were a little bit more like minimal than I usually go, but I really love the added texture in this room, and my children love touching these. So they're always disheveled. All right, this tulip table we also got on Facebook Market. We call it our Dr. Evil table because it's such a statement. And then this chandelier I actually found on West Elm Kids. So it works, I loved how it coordinated with the colors in the space. And I really love the muted kind of like mauve-y purple with this bright red. So the story behind this piece is Keith and I were on our 10-year anniversary trip in France, and we also found this at a Parisian flea market, and we just fell in love, and the price was so good, and we actually had it cut down the middle to ship it because the shipping was going to be so expensive that the vendor was like, if we cut it, it'll be way cheaper. So that's either a really fun story or a crime. I don't know which one. I'll let the next people that it'll pass down to decide that. But I love the colors in this. It's just such a bold mix of these like bright hues, and I feel like this really is kind of like the centerpiece of our whole home. And this is just our little bar table. This was also Facebook Market. I think it's just Target originally. These are also Target lamps that we've had for as long as our marriage, I think. And then this piece I recently found at one of my favorite thrift stores here in town. It's an original acrylic painting. I love the style, and it fits so well in the space. I think we paid $40 for it. And then this little martini stamp was hand carved by one of my really good friends, and I just thought it looked so perfect in the bar. Now let me show you our kitchen. So when we started making decisions about how we wanted to decorate this house, I actually took the Kelly Wearstler masterclass, and I loved what she said. She said, go into your closet, look at all the colors and textures that you have, because those are the colors that you feel most comfortable in. So your home should be similar to that. It should feel like a reflection of what you like and who you are. I had never done this before in any space we lived in, but I made a mood board, and that really helped me so much to kind of have an overall vision that I wasn't married to, but it helped me kind of hone in what I liked and what direction I wanted to go in. We have always loved color. I think we moved out of a house that was agreeable gray that we chose, but I think I was really at a place where I was ready to be honest with myself about what I actually liked and not what was like the right thing to do. And I think that is something that is so common when decorating a space, is just feeling like, what if the next person doesn't like this? But we kind of have gone into it of like, no matter how long we're here, we are going to do what we like. And so we love color, we love textures. I love kind of eclectic objects and textiles, and I don't know, our house really feels like this kind of silly, serious reflection of who Keith and I are. Welcome to our kitchen. This space has pretty much been untouched other than a few appliance upgrades, but the cabinetry is all original from 1962. The wallpaper, I suspect, is more 1990s, and I don't know if we'll keep it forever, but it's having a moment right now, and I'm here for it. So we'll see. My husband keeps threatening to paint it all gray, and I cannot tell if he's kidding or not because we have come so far. But yeah, my favorite part in this kitchen is this gallery wall. So let me show you this. So this kind of started as a few pieces, and I realized I have lots of oranges. So I am now a collector of oranges, and I also just loved like the idea of these foods and things being in the kitchen. This photograph actually is my newest piece. It's by a photographer named Tommy Lay in LA. I loved how the red kind of corresponded with the wallpaper and the light fixture in the dining room. And then the fish are maybe one of my favorite pieces of all time. One of my dear friends, Laurel Archie, painted those, as well as the little clementine over there. But yeah, so I've kind of just started collecting these little objects that feel kitcheny. And then this is a letterpress card that I thought was really sweet. I have a few pieces in the kitchen that I thrifted and are like so meaningful to me now. Just, I don't know, they're just really good finds. This copper teapot I love with the ceramic handle. That was also a Goodwill find. And then this was actually a ceramic by Toni Darling Frank, who, if you don't know her work, she's just so fantastic. So I love that detail. And then I wouldn't buy myself a butter urn for so long. I don't know why, but I think I knew this one was waiting for me at Goodwill as well. And then, yeah, this one too, I loved the color of the blue dish that brought out the wallpaper. And then there's something about a cast iron skillet on the stove that just feels so Southern to me. I never put it away. It was my grandma's, and I use it more than any other pan. And I love, it just feels immediately like home when I see that on the stove. This is another favorite area in my home. When we moved in, it didn't have the bench. It was just an open space. So it was kind of an awkward space for a larger table. And I wanted this to kind of be more of like a little breakfasty area. So we had the bench custom built. And this table we found at Final Cut in Augusta that is no longer there, but it was like such a treasure if you know about it. And then these are actually outdoor chairs that were from TJ Maxx. I love the style. I'd love to have real wicker seats, but they're so functional with children. I really don't hate having outdoor furniture indoors. So yeah, we kept the original wood in the windows for this area. I really liked the mixture of trim. We have some painted and some original, which is really nice. And this is an IKEA shade that I hope will never go away because it's just such a good one. They should carry it forever and ever. All the lighting in this house when we moved in was like little farmhouse lanterns. And so the light fixtures really changed so much. And yeah, so this is where we spend a lot of time every morning, every evening. We eat most of our dinners here. And this is kind of where we drop everything when we walk in. This is like another one of those spaces in this house where life is very much lived. And right across from this area is this kind of awkward space. We weren't sure kind of what to do with it in the beginning until we found this fantastic mid-century desk that is so functional. I loved that it still had the original little accoutrements. And yeah, so this is it's functional and decorative and fills the space in a really nice way. I think this is just such a cool piece. And I'm like, one day when we have our lives organized, we actually will sit down and like do bills or whatever here. But right now it's really pretty. These pieces we've also had for a really long time. One of our favorite bands, Toro y Moi, is from Colombia, and when he came back for a concert, my graphic design class actually had a contest to see like who could design a poster, and the winner had them printed by a local letterpress shop or screen printing shop. And so my friend won. So this is her design, and I've always loved this piece in the bright neon yellow. And this is a Christina McCody print that is like a nod to Matisse's Dancing Women that I just love so much. This is our fish Bubbles. His name is Bubbles this week. It's changed so many times. We also have some different little meaningful pieces here. This was a little note card that when we were traveling, a man kindly wrote down an entire itinerary for our day. And so I frame that because it's such a good memory. And then some favorite records and books. And this is one of my first paintings, again, that I did with my daughter when she was 2. And so that is such a cherished piece. Our record player, this lamp is from IKEA, was such a good find. And then I have some original art. And actually, this is, and I'm finding I'm so sentimental. These are little objects that I find around the house. They're like all about the same size, but it's like as a mom, you just find these like little things all day long. They don't have a place. So I've just started collecting them. And I think one day I want to do like a framed art piece with all of them, but I love this little jar. So I'm an artist. I've worked as an artist since I had my second daughter. And I started working in the home, and I had postpartum depression after I had Kit. And it kind of led me to start working with my hands again. I was a graphic designer previously, and I had lost touch with tactile creation. And so painting was really kind of this outlet for me to be able to get outside of my head, get more comfortable in my body and in my space. And so home and painting have always really been intertwined. When we first moved into this house, our guest room was my art studio and a guest room. So it really allowed me to create work that felt super tied to my intent on being present in my environment, no matter what the environment looked like that day. And so, yeah, I do really feel like there's this connection between home and painting that will never leave my process. So this is our second kind of sitting area. It's like slightly more formal, but still very cozy. I don't know that there's much that's formal about us. So this couch we actually got from the same people that we got a lot of our pieces from. Our coffee table, this giant piece that I just showed you. But she's an antique dealer here in Columbia, and she does such a fantastic job of sourcing and rehabilitating pieces. So this is our cherished golden couch. And then these pillows were a collaboration I did with a designer who did our bathroom. I'll show you in a bit. But we did a limited collection of textiles and home goods, and I designed the fabric, and she helped fabricate them. And it was a really fun collaboration. So I'm super happy to have those pieces to kind of commemorate that project. This fireplace the hearth is original. And I've just kind of been collecting little antiqued and thrifted objects over the years. This piece I actually just purchased for this space. I had a really hard time knowing what to do with such a wide space. And so I loved this piece by Jean Wilson Freeman in Greenville. It's just like, it has the dogwoods that we have in the backyard. It felt really special and meaningful for this home. And our fireplace isn't functional, so we kind of use it to decorate with. Just kind of revived this because it got very cluttery, and I'm really liking the way that these simple objects look in there. Coffee table, I believe, was also Wayfair, and an Amazon head vase and some other little thrifted items. And then this chair is an outdoor IKEA chair that is another one that we brought indoors, and I have always loved this chair. It feels like contemporary and vintage at the same time. No one ever sits in it. It's very lean back, but it's my cat loves it. This is her biscuit chair. And then this little stool, I think it's probably like 1930s, 1940s, but I love the wrought iron, and I love the original fabric too. It's really fun. And over here we have portraits I did of my girls a few years back, and I actually had them stand in front of the canvas and trace their actual size onto the canvas. And I wanted to highlight the outfits that I will forever see them in. So Vale's in her favorite dress, and then Kit's in her little vintage gingham shirt. These pieces are like so special to me. And this rug was in our studio, my art studio with a friend that we shared. And this was like our painting rug. So it's really cool because it has like all these paint splatters on it, and it's like kind of tattered. But I love the colors. I love the pattern. It's really like this is like the defining piece in this room that's kind of dictated our different decisions for this space. And lastly, in this room, we have our piano, which my husband actually taught himself to play in COVID. Neither of us grew up playing, so it's been really fun to like have a musical instrument in the house. These lamps I got from Turner and Moss in Columbia. Such a great source of vintage pieces, and they were painted before I got them, but they matched my trim perfectly. And this sculpture is by Olivia Bonilla. It's concrete and resin on a marble base. And we bought this when we had just moved into this house. We still needed like a dining room table and a couch and probably some like kitchen tools. And we decided to buy the cupcake instead. And I was so glad that we did. It'll always remind me of like that time of our life. And also it was kind of a moment for me where I was like, I'm always going to spend money on art because this piece makes me happier than sitting on a couch ever would. So it has a lot of significance, and it's just so like captivating. As soon as people walk in, it's like the first thing people go to. Okay, now I'm going to take you to my 2 favorite rooms in the house. I've said that about every room, but these rooms are really my favorite. So follow me to the primary and the guest room. My favorite room in this house is, I think, honestly, our bedroom. It's kind of always been the space when we move into a new house that we kind of move into first, because I don't know, it just feels like this home base of the home. I spend a lot of time in this room. It has the best sunlight. It's where the TV is. I mean, it's like where we are lounging and eating, and it's where we're doing life most of the time is this room. So the bedroom and this room are definitely the most like cozy to us. So right outside our bedroom is this poster that I would love to share because my mom found it in our church attic when I was in high school, and she was like, Meredith will love this. And again, it was just one of those moments that I felt like so appreciated for my love of weird. But it's just like this vintage poster. I don't know the history of it at all, but it's just a really fun illustration, and I will like cherish it forever. It's just like one of those weird things that means a lot. Welcome to the primary. This is such a favorite spot in the house. It's always just been really cozy. We've always had a green bedroom, and I don't know why that's just what we gravitate towards, but it's a really nice color to rest in. And so we've got some more natural elements in this room than any other room in the house. I kind of feel like it's like our ode to the coast. I grew up in Beaufort, South Carolina, and long for it daily. So this kind of feels like a very coastal part of the house. This orange bench Keith bought me for a birthday when we were early in marriage and funds were low. And I felt so seen by this gift because it was like he knew it was something that I would love. I think it's from Wayfair ages ago. And this rug is from NK. It's hand loomed and it's just like so cozy. I love all the different like textures in this space. I think all of our textiles, I think, are IKEA. These are Target or something, nothing significant. And then I love these blinds. I like kind of wanted to hoard them, but I didn't think I could do striped blinds in every room of the house. But those are a favorite detail in here for sure. And then these art pieces above the bed are some nude paintings I did in college that I've always really liked. This is our primary bathroom. We recently had it renovated, and when we moved into the house, we just had the one bathroom downstairs. So it was closed off in this room. It was a hall bath, but so we as like our primary bathroom was also the hall bath, which was not ideal. And so we wanted to maintain this, like the character of the space. The original bathroom had this fantastic lavender tile and this like purpley red green butterfly wallpaper. And it just felt so like 1962. And so when we decided to work with Amanda Louise Interiors, I knew that she was someone that would like appreciate that original charm and be able to bring that to modern day. And also make it a really functional space because it's not huge. And we chose really special elements that just brought it back to life. So the wallpaper is like my all-time favorite. I couldn't have found it on my own. I'm so glad that we worked with someone who has like an appreciation for this kind of eclectic style. And I loved the idea of having this kind of like modern, sleek shower with just the glass panel. And then we recently just added some little artworks that I think make it really just like pull it all together. That was our primary bedroom. Now follow me to our guest room. So this is our guest room. We finished this most recently of any other room in the house, and we've lovingly started calling it the chocolate box just because of like the palette. It feels like Valentine's Day in here. And I really wanted this to feel super cozy and luxe for our guests and kind of unique. So we chose this like Turkish coffee brown color, and the pink trim was actually just a continuation of what we had already done in the bathroom. When we renovated the primary bathroom, we added a bathroom under the stairs. So our guests now have a half bath. But this room was really fun because I sourced so many really good pieces from Facebook Market. So this was like a gold that I spray painted. This was also Facebook Market. It's a mid-century lamp. This desk I've had forever, but it looks so perfect in this space, and it's so teeny tiny. It's not super practical, but it works really well as a nightstand. And then this poster was actually in my friend's trunk one day at school pickup, and he was like, "I'm about to throw this away. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Yes." So it's become like the centerpiece of this whole room. And I just spray painted the border, and it was like a really quick DIY that turned out really well. And actually the like name of the poster is something about chocolate, and so it ties in really, really nicely. All the bedding in here is from IKEA. I wanted something that would just felt like more textural. Since there's so much color everywhere else, I kept this more neutral. And actually I think these are Amazon, but they were a great find. They're just like oversized linen cases. And this bench was also found on Facebook Market, and I loved that it was really designed more for like office space, but it has these great chrome legs that tie in with the chrome fixtures in my bathroom and in this guest bathroom. I loved the color, the bright red. I thought it was such a unique space for under this window and functional for guests to put their suitcases on. So that's definitely become a quick favorite. And then also these pieces I created at a workshop of a friend of mine, and just decided to frame them. I really liked how they turned out and tie in. It brings in a little bit of green, so the colors weren't all just like brown, red, pink. This is our hidden half bath that's inside of the guest room. It just tucks in under the staircase, and it has been so great to have this, extra space in the house, but also it felt like a room that I could have fun in because it's not somewhere we're going to be every day. So we went a little bit wild with the choices of the wallpaper, and I've had these pieces of art by Taylor Faulkner for years, and I was like, these will be perfect in here. So that's kind of another way that I love collecting and decorating, is buying a piece because I am drawn to it, and then knowing that it'll eventually find its place. And so that is exactly what happened with these paintings. So the elements in here are still, again, like kind of vintage, kind of contemporary, but overall just like a really fun space. When we have guests come, I hope that they feel like it's somewhere that they've been before. I really want our house to feel warm and welcoming and open, a place that people can be themselves and relax or feel fancy, or I want everyone that comes in our door to feel like they know us a little bit more, and that allows them to be a little bit more of themselves. To me, home means freedom. I think it's a lot of creating a home for me has been discovering who I am, what I like, and giving myself the freedom to be honest about that.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.